What is up, everybody? Welcome to the final thoughts for UFC Vegas 31. Islam Makhachev going against Thiago Moises. Pretty solid card. I think there's a lot of great betting opportunities. I have a decent amount of bets. We'll talk about all of those. We'll talk about some DK as well. Feeling pretty good for the DK side of things as well. I was able to get my lineups done already, so that's all good. Able to get my articles out. So tonight, I'm going to spend tonight working on the card next week. So I'm glad to get everything out of the way early. And I'm looking forward to the card. I think it's a pretty solid card. Maybe not the most name value, but I think there's going to be a lot of finishes. I think there's going to be a lot of exciting fights. And as always, another opportunity to make some money. So what's up, everybody in the chat? We have Sean, first one in here. Let's go, Brady. Let's go, Sean. Hopefully did well last week. And hopefully you have another good week this week. What's up, Chris, in the chat? PayPal in the chat says Sosa. He also says Guru. Don't know what Guru he's referring to there. Chris Pinnell. What's up, Chris? Is this card worth coming over for? Potentially, I think it's going to be fun. I mean, maybe, not the most name value, but should be some violence. Yep, Sean says, not a great card, but lots of great fights from a DK perspective. I agree. Oh, we got Danger in the chat. What is up, Danger? How you doing? Hopefully you're doing well. What's up, Brady? Another interesting card to bet. Yeah, interesting indeed. Interesting indeed. Lots of big favorites. If you're a parlay guy, people always come in every week and ask about parlays. This is a good card to probably do parlays there. Nascimento bigger would put him out. Yeah, Nascimento for the win there. Let's cash these checks. I agree. Parlay's ready to cash. I agree. Great parlay card. Let's make some money. What's up, Samuel? What's up, Bill? Let's get this money. I agree. Parlay card. Yep, it's a good parlay card. I have two parlays this week. We'll talk about them. Hey, Brady, let's do this. What's up, Riff Raff? Thoughts on Rodolfo saying how he fixed his cardio issue? Yeah, don't buy it, man. I don't buy that. Come on. But, he has a very good opportunity to win early here. MT says, Lemos, I agree. So before we get started, I do want to shout out the sponsor, Pub Sports Radio. They are live right now doing the Bellator. So after this, go check out them. They're doing live Bellator content, doing, live betting, live commentary. Always fun to hang out with them over there. Make sure you guys hit the like button. That'd be much, much appreciated. Also subscribe to the channel if you are not already, so you're not miss out on the other content throughout the week. I already recorded my betting breakdown video. I'll be getting that out early tomorrow morning. Pretty much this, just in like a simplified form and talking about everything from a betting perspective and a betting perspective only. And yeah, that's about all I got. What's up, Doge? Doge, first time I think you're in a live stream. Let's go. I agree. Thanks for hanging out, man. Deb Cat says, I suck at this. Help. What do you need help with? Rodolfo does look huge. I agree. Hey, what's up? $5 donation. Appreciate that. Hopefully I pronounce this right. Zayed or Zed. Appreciate that, man. Dono does go a long way, man. Appreciate it. What's up, Brady? Big card this week. Yeah, decent card. We have Austin in the chat. What's up, Austin? What's up, Bro Beans? Let's win some money. I agree. Got me a few unders. Stoked for your thoughts. Yeah, I have some unders as well. So I say we get into it. There we go. Appreciate the dono, man. Really do. Ron hates the card. I like the card. I think it's a good card. D-Rob by decision. We'll talk about that. All right, here we go. So we'll get to the first fight of the night. So we have. Can you guys see that all right, or do I need to zoom in? I'll try to zoom in a little bit. Maybe I zoomed in a little bit too much. Let me try this. Oh, there we go. 125. All right, here we go. All right, do this. Okay, now we're ready. So first fight of the night, Rodrigo Nascimento going against Alan Abdou. And this is where I do have my first bet of the night. So I have a violence parlay. I did one last week. It was the Sean O'Malley fight doesn't go to decision, along with the main event fight doesn't go to decision. And I may or may not have got really lucky on that bet. But regardless, it cashed. And I have another one here. So the first leg of that parlay is going to be Nascimento Abdou. Fight doesn't go to decision. And that is going to be parlayed with Rodolfo Vieira. Fight doesn't go to decision as well. Vieira Stoltzfus. I have 1.5 units on that. And that was minus 135. So I need both those fights to finish. I do think both fights finish. And, as far as the DraftKings perspective goes, if you guys know me, you guys know that I do like that first fight of the night. And last week, it was supposed to be the Yu Zhang and Madovsky fight, which I love to target. That fight ended up falling off, which sucked. But, this card, Nascimento Abdou, I think it's very important. You have Nascimento, who is 9K on DK, Abdou 7,200. I expect Nascimento to go out here, take this guy down, and finish him shortly after. Abdou has no takedown defense, He has no ground game. He's been knocked out twice. He's been submitted before. Neither guy has seen the scorecards, win or loss. So I like that from a fight doesn't go to decision perspective. And I do think Nascimento gets to take down early and finishes the fight shortly after that. I think he's the much better fighter overall. But again, this is heavyweight, although Abdou has fought at lower weight classes before. It's a heavyweight fight. Abdou hits hard. He's a finisher, and we have seen Nascimento finish before. So I will have some Abdou as well on DK, but I really do expect Nascimento to get this done. So I said it earlier in the week, if you're going to parlay this fight, and instead of parlaying Nascimento, I'd probably go for the fight doesn't go to decision, kind of cover both sides. I don't see this fight going the distance either way. So that's my first parlay. I'm trying to stay away from the parlays this year. I'm trying to keep it more straight bets and props. But this week, I do think it's a solid week for parlays, and that's going to be my first parlay of the night, and it is that violence bet. So I do think this fight finishes, as well as the Stoltzfus and Vieira fight as well. So I think it's a good bet there, and I do think Nascimento does get it done. I'm going to have a ton of exposure for Nascimento as well. I think I have close to 50% Nascimento, and then I think close to 20% Abdou. So I'm very highly exposed to this fight, and I do think it's a very important fight as well. Brady Cakes, are you taking Cupcake? I am. I sure am. Am I confident in it? I'm sure not. Not at all. Montserrat by decision or submission over Lemos. Amanda's ground game is not spectacular. I definitely disagree there, but you never know. It is women's MMA. Coolbet currently has plus 1,000 on Nascimento round 1. Oh my goodness. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, take it. Plus 1,000. I think on other books it's like plus 125. So, yep, hit it. You, me, and Herb Dean all cash that Sugar fight. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Shout out to Herb. Herb's the GOAT. That really did save my night. So shout out to Herb Dean. He's the man. Not much else to say. Does this fight start round 3? I'm not even sure it starts round 2. I think one takedown, the fight's going to be over. I have the exact same parlay. There we go. Fight doesn't go to decision with the Vieira fight. Yeah, I think both finish. I'd be shocked if either one went to decision, to be honest. What's up, Brady, baby? What is up? The Big J360. How you doing? Yeah, that seemed the fight was stopped to cash bets. It also seemed Burns let Burns cheat. Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff on the card, like the Michelle Pereira backflip, the stoppage, Burns 10 shots to the back of the head. It's just a weird card, but a very good card nonetheless. 11 fights going to feel so short after these cards in 2001. Yeah, short card. Herb Dean, yeah, he's the man. He's the man for sure. Shout out to Herb Dean. All right, so we'll get to the next fight, and I have another bet. It looks like I have a bet on the first 5 or 6 fights of the night. Francisco Figueredo going against Malcolm Gordon, and the bet I do have is the under 2.5 rounds. So I did miss this line a little bit, opened up around minus 125, minus 135, and I did bet it at minus 150. I was waiting all week for FanDuel Sportsbook to get their props out, and they waited way too long, so I ended up pulling the trigger at minus 150. I like that bet quite a bit. Malcolm Gordon has never lost by decision. Figueredo has been finished in 2 of his 3 losses, 1 by knockout, 1 by submission. Both guys with an 83% finish rate. So I think there's a very good chance that this fight finishes one way or another. And if you guys listen to my breakdown, I was talking about, going back and watching fights of Malcolm Gordon. I watched 7 or 8 fights. And I swear that every single fight that I watched, Malcolm Gordon got hurt in some way, shape, or form, whether he wobbled, whether he got knocked out cold. He has really bad reactions to shots, and shots that barely land, it looks like, hurt this guy. This guy could have the worst chin in UFC history, easily pound for pound the worst chin I've ever seen in my life. So, although I'm not high on Figueredo, I don't think Figueredo's good. I think he's low volume. I think he has no cardio. It's only going to take one shot to knock out Malcolm Gordon. On the flip side, if Figueredo does gas out, if Figueredo does initiate the grappling with Gordon like he did with Rivera, Malcolm Gordon's good. Malcolm Gordon's good off his back. BJJ black belt. I think Gordon's live for a finish in his own right, but I think the more likely scenario is Figueredo knocking this guy out, probably in the first round. The chin is horrible. Not much else to say. I think on DK, I have a lot of this fight as well. I have a decent amount of Figueredo. I have some Gordon as well as a pump play just in case, Figueredo does gas out. But yeah, Figueredo probably knocks this guy out. And I do like that under 2.5 rounds quite a bit. I think someone's getting finished. And again, on DraftKings, probably a really good fight to target. But yeah, Figueredo by KO. I wouldn't really recommend parlaying the guy at all. Minus 330 seems really wide. Honestly tempted on the dog shot, but I think I'll just stay with that violence bet under Under 2.5 rounds, minus 150, 1.5 units. Give me some more violence. Give me some more violence. I think he gets it done. I think he gets knocked out. And if Gordon does get knocked out, it's probably his last fight in the UFC. Bookies are begging people to fade Vieira and bet Ruiz this week. Yeah, I wouldn't really bet either Stoltzfus or Ruiz personally, but I get the kind of look on the Stoltzfus part. Dean smoking that hurt, sure is. You said Gordon was a fraud before his last fight. I tend to agree. Yeah, I was really high on Sumadarji against Gordon. I remember betting Sumadarji. It was like minus 120 for Sumud inside the distance. I think the KO prop was like plus 125. And should have hammered that a lot harder. But yeah, I think it's another opportunity to fade Gordon again. Malcolm Gordon is not that good. I mean, I think he's good. It's just the chin is so bad. The chin is so bad. I think he's skilled. I think his ground game is very good. He's very active off his back, very aggressive. It's just the chin that, yeah, it probably does make him a bad fighter. Is that 0.55 single free strikes per minute and 13 accuracy correct with the glass chin? Yep. But all of his fights, 2 fights in the UFC, both were ended pretty quickly, so can't really look into that too much. This fight should be hilarious. I agree. Does Figueredo have decent KO power, or does Malcolm Gordon's both? A little bit of both. Augusta win and Gordon does the chicken dance. I agree. What's the under 2.5 line? I got it at minus 150. I think it's still minus 150 or like minus 140. So, yeah, I mean, I think it finishes. I'm going Montserrat Ruiz over Lemos. Thoughts? Greetings from Mexico. Yeah, I'm going Lemos and honestly pretty confident in her. But yeah, I see a lot of people on Ruiz. Don't really get it. Maybe because it's of the line, maybe. I don't know. Gordon flopped like a fish. Yeah, he did. That was bad. All right, so we'll get to the next fight. And I do have another bet. So this is a bet I did place a couple weeks ago. I bet Miles Johns minus 170, thinking the line would get a little bit wider, but the line has kind of stayed around the same. He's still minus 170. And I really like this fight for Miles Johns. I think it's a great stylistic matchup. You know, Miles Johns, state champion wrestler, went to college for wrestling as well. A very, very good takedown defense. I think he's going to be the better striker. You take a look at some of Anderson dos Santos' striking numbers, and they're horrible. He has like a 29% striking accuracy. He has like a -2 significant strike differential. The guy is very hittable. No striking defense whatsoever. The guy is a walking punching bag. So I think if Miles Johns fights smart, keep this on the feet, stuff the takedowns, I think he does piece apart Dos Santos for 3 rounds, or maybe even finishes Dos Santos. Dos Santos has been finished by knockout 3 times. He's been finished by submission 2 times. And I heard an interview with Miles Johns. I really liked what I heard. He said exactly that. He said he's going to stuff the takedowns, keep it on the feet, and knock this guy out. So I like it quite a bit. The big thing about Dos Santos, and I see a lot of people picking Dos Santos, maybe not like the public. The public, 93% on Tapology are picking Johns, which I don't like to see that. But, you know, some of these people that do put out on their predictions are picking Dos Santos, and they're not mentioning the big elephant in the room. And the big elephant in the room is Anderson dos Santos is a 36-year-old bantamweight. A 36-year-old bantamweight. And a fun stat that I did see was since 2019, Anderson dos Santos is 1-1. And that one win is against one Martin Day. Martin Day, who went 0-5 between the UFC and Contender Series. That's his one win since 2019. And now this guy is 36. I will say that Anderson dos Santos looked in incredible shape, but still, the guy, I'm not in love with his striking. Very dangerous guy. If he does win, it's going to be by a finish, whether it is a submission, whether it is a knockout. But I think Johns keeps us on the feet and knocks him out himself. So I do have a 2-unit bet on Miles Johns, minus 170. And I also took a half-unit shot on the under 2.5 rounds at plus 165. This way, if Dos Santos does finish Miles Johns, it kind of, covers that a little bit. But I also think Johns is very live for a knockout himself. So I have 2 units, Miles Johns, minus 170. And I also have the under 2.5 rounds, half a unit, plus 165. And like I said, I think it's a good matchup for Johns. He's a young guy in his prime, 27 years old, training at Fortis MMA, going against a 36-year-old bantamweight. So we'll see what happens. Dos Santos, he's always live. He's dangerous. But I don't know. I really like Johns in this spot if he does fight smart. Malcolm gave up the Sioux fight. Yes, he did. Hey, Brady, good luck this week. Need a few wins. Lost my balls on McGregor. Oh, no. Yeah, I played the fight doesn't go to decision in that fight. It's because the bunny outfit at the that could be it. Are the fights on tonight? No, sir. They're on tomorrow. Miles John's lock or not? 100% not. 100% no. With so many, other better options, I would not say Miles John's is the lock of the night, but I do like him quite a bit. Moises is definitely not the lock of the night. Hello at the Moses. Miles Johns looks like a mini Robbie Lawler. I can see it a little bit to an extent. I have a feeling Reneau will beat Tate. Misha hasn't fought in a million years. That is true. Sketchy fight. But yeah, I'll take Miles Johns. I didn't even touch on the DraftKings side of things, but I actually kind of like Dos Santos more from a DraftKings perspective than Johns, because I kind of expect Johns to kind of keep it on the feet, keep it at range, eventually knock this guy out. But I think it'll be kind of later in the fight, second round, maybe an early finish. But I think Dos Santos, if he wins, he's an underdog. Solid underdog option with some upside there. Dos Santos' birthday is July 24th. Yep, he's turning 36 very, very soon. In what, 8 days. He's turning 36 in 8 days. You're on Moises there. Yeah, I don't have a bet in that fight in terms of picking a side. Lowest owned fight on DK this week. There's so many good fights to target. I think the lowest exposed I am on a fight would be probably the Lemos Ruiz fight. That's probably my lowest owned fight. The Lemos Ruiz. Any more two-leggers? Yep, I have one more. One more coming your way pretty soon. All right. So we'll get to the next fight. And I do have another bet on this card. So a lot of my action is, back to back to start the card. And we do have Khalid Taha going against Sergey Morozov. Taha did not look great at the weigh-ins. I don't know if you guys saw that. He looked really sucked out. Not the best look in the world. Sergey Morozov training at ATT for this camp. I really do like that in terms of this fight. I think he'll come in here with a really good game plan. And I took a shot on the dog here. I have one unit on Sergey Morozov, plus 141. The line has moved since then. He is now plus 115. And I do think this should be closer to a pick'em. So Morozov, what I like about him, he's very well-rounded, solid striker. He does mix in his wrestling often. And I think that's a path to victory here against Taha, who has been taken down multiple times thus far in the UFC, who has been controlled a ton in the UFC. And I think Morozov, keep the striking close, avoid that big shot of Taha, take this guy down and win minutes of the fight and win a decision here. So I did pull the trigger on Morozov. He is one of the dogs of the week, which kind of does scare me. Everybody's on this guy. But again, I do think this fight should be a pick'em. If there is a finish in this fight, I do think it's from the Taha side. Taha can absolutely crack. I think he has like an 84% finish rate, something like that. Morozov has been knocked out before. But I do like Morozov, if he does not get knocked out, get this to the ground and win the fight. So give me Morozov by decision. 1 unit play, plus 141, taking a shot on the dog. As far as DK goes, I like kind of both sides here. Morozov, I think he has some takedown upside, control time upside. Taha, I think he'll be one of the lowest owned fighters on the slate, and I think he has knockout upside. So I like both sides here, but the lean for me and the pick for me is definitely on the Morozov side. I think he's one of the more live dogs on a slate that does not really have many dogs that I think will win. So give me Morozov for the win, and that is a 1 unit bet for me. Morozov decision right there with you. This card has Bellator odds. Yes, it does. Good luck for this week. You as well, Gaming Wolf. If there's one bet I should make this weekend, what would you recommend? I don't know, man. Not really one bet that I have really sticks out. I don't know. Not really like a clear-cut lock, in my opinion. I think like Dana Rodriguez, a very good play. Lemos, very good play. I don't know. We'll see by the end of the show. Maybe something sticks out. Sergey going to be a solid dog. Yeah, a lot of people on this guy. Brady, what are your thoughts? MMA Parlay King, no thoughts on him. Best bet will probably be Makhachev versus Moises over 3.5 rounds. Probably juiced up to the max. So what are the odds on that? I'll take Miles just because of that comment. Love me some Robbie years ago. Either Morozov decision or Taha by finish. I 100% agree with that. I think if there is a finish, it's by Taha. Decision, Morozov. Either Morozov decision is actually pretty safe. Yeah, Morozov by decision is plus 200, but you might as well just take the plus money there, to be honest. All right, so moving along here. I know there is Bellator going on, but thank you for the over 120 people hanging out with me on a Friday, every Friday here, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. If you guys in the chat can, hit the like. If you're watching this in the future, hit the like. It is always much, much appreciated. I think we set a record of likes on my prediction video for 264 last week. It was like something crazy, like over 700 likes. Appreciate that, guys. Unanimous decision plus 300. Not terrible. Not terrible. But yeah, I just took the plus money there. Covers all angles in case he does finish Taha, which I don't think is likely, but you never know. All right, next we have a fun fight. Amanda Lemos going against Montserrat Ruiz. Lemos is minus 600. Ruiz is plus 400. So this is going to be the first leg of my 2-leg parlay. If you guys know me, you guys know that I don't really like parlays, but when I do, I like to keep them to 2 legs. I like to keep them short and sweet. I feel like that does work best because when you start adding the legs on, it just gets harder and harder to hit. And I have had success with the 2-leggers. So sticking with the 2-legger here, and she will be the first leg of that parlay. And, I just think she's the better fighter by a significant margin. She's going to be much, much bigger. If you saw the weigh-ins, not only did you see the bunny outfit of Ruiz, you saw how much bigger Lemos is. Lemos is huge compared to her, which, I don't like that in terms of the Ruiz standpoint, because Ruiz is going to want to take down Lemos. She's going to want to control her against the cage, and I don't think Lemos is going to let that happen. At range, it's Lemos all day, and it's not close. Ruiz, low volume, very hittable. Lemos hits very, very hard. She has tons of volume. Somebody that used to fight at 135, now at 115, that power definitely has translated. And you take a look at Lemos, she's a finisher, 89% finish rate. I believe she only has 1 decision win. And I think there's a very good chance that she does finish Ruiz. The problem I'm having is, the knockout prop, it looks very good, plus 175, but I also could see a potential submission. She's very slick on the mat. She has a couple submissions on her record. And I do feel like this fight could hit the mat one way or another. So I kind of opt for the inside the distance, if anything. But at the end of the day, this is women's MMA. This is at 115 pounds. So I decided to pass on that 115, but I do have her in a parlay. One of my more confident picks on the entire card. I think she's better in every single aspect of MMA. On the feet, it's Lemos all day. On the mat, it's Lemos all day. Don't really see a path to victory for Ruiz outside of Ruiz, hanging on Lemos for 15 minutes, potentially taking her down, Lemos gassing out, which, it could happen, but Lemos is the much better fighter. She's fought better competition. I just think it's a spot where Lemos should definitely get the win. I know you're looking at it saying minus 600 women's MMA. Yeah, I think she's the real deal. I definitely think she's the real deal. And Ruiz, I think she's decent, but at the end of the day, the UFC brought her in to lose to Cheyenne Bays. They wanted to build up Cheyenne Bays. That did not happen, and they're punishing her, feeding her to Amanda Lemos. This matchup literally makes no sense to me whatsoever, but I do think Lemos gets the job done. As far as DK goes, it's weird because I like Lemos as a play. I think she's a very good play. It's just, man, I like everybody else a little bit more. So I don't have much Lemos. I have like 20%, but I like Nascimento more. I like Makhachev more. I like Vieira more. I like Figueredo more. I like all these plays a little bit more. And so I'm not saying she's a bad play. There's just other plays I do like a little bit more than Amanda Lemos, but there's a very good chance that she does finish this fight. But yeah, Lemos for me, and Lemos all day. Are you all playing Gamrot? I'm not playing Gamrot. I hit the like for real. I agree. Montserrat, the dog of the night. Yeah, I don't get it. Lemos should win this one easily inside the distance win. I agree. I have Gamrot in a parlay. I almost parlayed Gamrot. Decided to get off of that. I'll talk about why in a little bit. The pregnancy curse, Antarov, Juliana Pena, Dern, all good fighters fell short in their comeback fights. We'll see if the mishap can break it. Yeah, something to think about. She is coming off of a pregnancy and a long layoff. She always wears that bunny outfit, it looks like. Fan of Bellator somewhat. I'm not a fan that it's going on during my stream. Just kidding. But no, I like Bellator. I watch every once in a while when I can. Don't like Lemos. Yeah, I'm with you. I like other plays more. 2 legs are for humans. Parlay them up. Yeah, I'm more of a 2-leg guy for sure. I feel like Lemos will win, but won't finish her. Yeah, it could happen. Ruiz has never been finished. All the casuals will have Gamrot. Steven's going to win. He could. I love my chick bets, but in real life, us women are so unpredictable, and they always mess up my card. There you go. I like it. I'm probably gonna live bet this card and take some underdogs. Otherwise, not the best card to make money. There's some really good spots. There's some really good spots this week. All right, so we'll get to the next fight, and this is going to close out my parlay. I do like this back-to-back, so I'll know real soon if I do hit this parlay or not. But I do have Dan Rodriguez parlayed with Amanda Lemos, 1.5 units on it, and I got it at minus 134. And ever since then, a ton of money has came in on the Dan Rodriguez side, and for probably a really good reason. It's just, Preston Parsons, he's good. I think he's very well-rounded, lots of power, great submission game, good wrestling. Looks like he has good cardio. There's just a lot of things going against this guy. You take a look at it, he hasn't really fought anybody good. And when he does fight somebody somewhat relevant, he gets finished. And I definitely think that Rodriguez is going to be the best fighter he has ever faced. Yes, he fought Mike Perry back in the day. Mike Perry did knock him out. But yeah, I mean, D-Rod is just so well-rounded. He should be undefeated in the UFC. Got that loss to Dalby. I watched it back a couple times now. Did score it for D-Rod every single time, and I don't know how the judges ever scored that fight for Dalby. D-Rod outlanded Dalby like 2-1 in that fight, but just a lot of things going against Parsons. All of his wins are by submission. I don't like that. D-Rod's never been submitted. Somebody that trains 10th Planet. Just a tough ask. Short notice. I think like 9 or 10 days short notice. I like D-Rod here. I think D-Rod either knocks him out or submits him in this fight. Preston Parsons has never seen the scorecards, and I don't even think Preston Parsons has seen the third round, maybe once. But yeah, not somebody that goes to the judges, at all in Preston Parsons. D-Rod a decent finisher himself, and that's why you kind of see the fight doesn't go to decision at minus 270 here. So I like D-Rod. I have him in the parlay with Lemos, but what I also did was I sprinkled some props for D-Rod. I do think he finishes this guy one way or another. And there's a prop that really stuck out to me. Uncle Weezy shouted out. So shout out to Uncle Weezy. He pointed out on his video. He pointed out Rodriguez by submission was plus 1,600 on FanDuel Sportsbook. So I put 0.25 units on that. And then I also put 0.75 units on Danny Rodriguez by knockout at minus 125. I think the more likely outcome is that knockout. But D-Rod, he's a legit grappler. Couple submissions on his record. Going against Parsons, who has been submitted before. I've seen him reverse multiple times. I've seen him put in some bad spots. I've even seen him taken down quite a bit as well. So I think D-Rod's better in every single aspect of MMA at this point. But Parsons, he's very young, 25 years old. I think he has a huge ceiling. I really do. I think this guy's great. It's just right here, right now, against D-Rod, short notice. I think it's a very, very tough ask. So I do see why we're seeing a ton of money come in on Danny Rodriguez this week and why he is becoming a huge favorite on this card. As far as DK goes, I like D-Rod quite a bit. Tons of volume, finish upside, 8,800. Yeah, sign me up. Sign me up for some D-Rod. As far as Parsons, decent dog. He'll fight for your money. He's tough. He's a finisher. I just don't see him submitting Danny Rodriguez. That's the problem. I just don't see him submitting D-Rod. Conservative teaser parlays are the best way to beat Vegas. Yeah, I agree. Gamrot will win, and then the casual bow down. There you go. Live bet Vieira fight. Yep, definitely a good fight to live bet. I snagged D-Rod at minus 215. I did as well in the parlay. Good snag there to you. Double P for the upset. Yeah, I just don't see him submitting D-Rod. He'll have to either win by knockout, which he's never done. Have to win a decision, which he's never done. Just a lot of things going against him. Ruiz about to get punished by the UFC for ruining their plans. Yep, agreed. Is Stevens done? Maybe. We'll see. We'll see against Gamrot. All right, so we'll get to the next fight here. And we have a very interesting fight. Probably, in my opinion, could very well be fight of the night. All Billy Quarantillo fights are very exciting, as are all Gabriel Benitez fights. So yeah, Billy Quarantillo, the public dog of the week, number 2. And I really do like Benitez in this fight. There's some really serious red flags on the Quarantillo side. When you take a look at the tape, the stats, the guy is very, very hittable. 42% striking defense. You do not want to be hittable against Benitez. But Quarantillo's tough. He has cardio. He has heart. And those things really go a long way, but they only take you so far. And I mentioned it on my prediction video, like people really like these tough guys. Like they really are popular. Guys like Quarantillo, Matinho, who just fought. People really like these guys that are tough. And, it's funny when you listen to people pick fights. They're like, for example, it was Jerome Rivera against Andre Ewell. Jerome Rivera, a very tough guy. People are like, man, Jerome Rivera is going to win. He's so tough. And again, like being tough, it doesn't win you fights. It can win you some fights. Like it helps them, win fights. But at this level, being tough only takes you so far. And we saw that against Gavin Tucker where, being tough just wasn't enough. Gavin Tucker had a lot of success. He was able to stuff takedowns. He was able to get takedowns of his own. And in this fight, I think Billy's going to get hit, and he's going to get hit very, very hard. So, yeah, I do think there's a potential knockout opportunity for Benitez. And Billy Quarantillo's path to victory is basically getting beat up for 2 rounds and hoping that Benitez slows down. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. So I could be wrong. I do like Benitez here. I get the dog shot on Billy. The guy's tough. He's going to fight for your money, but being tough, it can only go so far. But yeah, Benitez, I wanted to see him on the scales before I did any action on this fight. He looked good. He made weight. Billy Quarantillo, he looked really good, made weight. So outside of Benitez really gassing out, and maybe he does, I think this is a good fight for him. He's going to have a lot of success on the feet. I think Billy could get takedowns, but Benitez has a very good get-up game. I like Benitez in the spot. The only problem is the line went down to like -155 for Benitez. I did not hop on there. I kind of waited it out because like everybody's on Quarantillo this week, and I wanted to get it a little bit better. Now, since then, money has came back in on Benitez after he did make weight and all that. So I'll probably pass as of now. But if I wake up in the morning and he is like -140 for some reason, -150, I might pull the trigger on Benitez. But as of now, I'm going to pass. I'm going to sit back and watch it. As far as DK goes, not in love with Benitez. I have like 20% of Benitez. I'm kind of more inclined to play the Billy Quarantillo side on DK because, again, he will fight for your money. He will probably get takedowns. He'll probably get a lot of volume as well. And if he does win, he's going to score very good. So on DK, I actually have more of the Quarantillo side. But as far as a straight pick goes, I'm going to go with Benitez here to get the win. But very good fight. This fight is going to be fight of the night. There's going to be some serious violence. I don't know if it finishes, but there's going to be some serious violence in this fight one way or another. All right. But yeah, could be wrong. I could be wrong. Lots of people are on Billy Q. Give us the scoop on the MMA Guru controversy. I don't know what controversy you're talking about. Are you talking about Prediction Guru? I have Billy Q in my lineups. Yeah, I have a decent amount of Billy Q myself. I definitely agree with Brady. Was it the weight cut or did Billy Q put on some mass? I don't know. He looked lean. He looked really good. He looked really good. Compared to Gavin Tucker fight. I don't know. Yeah, he looked good. Probably the best he's ever looked, to be honest. Misha Tate on every parlay. No. Don't do that. I think she wins, but don't do that. So many favorites, fighters, leans. I need Billy Q for the price tag. I'm kind of with you there, at least on a DK standpoint. Like, I do have a decent amount of Billy Q. It's tough. I think Gabriel Benitez is live for an early finish. I think, Quarantillo's live for a late finish. I kind of lean it towards, I don't know. It's up in the air for me. Who has the worst chin, Malcolm Gordon or Jason Witt? Malcolm Gordon. Witt's number 2 on the list. And by the way, I think Witt fights in 2 weeks against Brian Barberena. So I think Barberena is like -250 right now. But yeah, it goes Malcolm Gordon, then Jason Witt for me. Same thing happened to Baez versus Ruiz. Everybody was saying that Cheyenne was going to kill Montserrat. We saw the outcome from that fight. Montserrat will look, yeah, but what would Amanda Lemos do to Cheyenne Baez? She would destroy her in like 30 seconds. What's up, Locker? How you doing, Mills? Shady Brady, what's good? What's good with you, Mills? Billy's price on DK and his output. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Give us the scoop on the MMA Guru controversy. Yeah, give us the goods on Prediction Guru. Not much to say. I like the guy, but yeah, not a good look. But I'm not going to get into it. Not much else to say there. Okay. So anyway, getting to the next fight of the night. This is going to close out my parlay I was talking about earlier. It's the violence parlay, 1.5 units, -135. Fight doesn't go to decision for Vieira Stoltzfus, and fight doesn't go to decision for Nascimento and Abdou. I think both fights finish. And yeah, I mean, if that Fluffy Hernandez fight didn't happen, or say Vieira did go out there and submitted Fluffy in that first round, we would not be seeing Vieira here at -210. I'll tell you that. We'd be seeing him at like -500, -600, to be honest. Like, this is such a winnable fight. Stoltzfus, he's never been subbed. He's a good grappler, but he has no takedown defense. He's very content to just lay on his back, throw up submissions. Of course, it's not going to work against Vieira. And Stoltzfus' path to victory is Vieira gassing out. So, I think Vieira wins. I think he gets him out in the first round, but it's really hard to trust Rodolfo Vieira at this point. The guy has no cardio whatsoever. He has a good 5 minutes, maybe less, to finish this fight. So I get the dog shots for Stoltzfus, but this is a fight that Vieira should run through this guy. but I'm not betting it. I'm not betting. I'm not throwing Vieira into any parlays. I'm not betting him straight. In hindsight, he could look like a big favorite here, but just the cardio is. I don't see how anybody could, bet this guy after his last fight. And in general, like the guy has no gas tank. He has like 5 minutes, if that, to work with. So I like Vieira. I have a lot of them on DraftKings, but I do have some Stoltzfus as well, because in case Vieira does gas out, I think Stoltzfus is live for a finish. I think it's either Vieira early or Stoltzfus late, one of those fights. So either way, I think there's a finish. I think the fight does inside the distance, so I do like that parlay. But as far as like betting a straight side, I can't go either way. Can't go either way. I was tempted on Stoltzfus at first, but after watching tape on the guy, no takedown defense, not great cardio himself, honestly. And I think Vieira should run through him, but you can't trust Vieira ever. The guy is on my do not bet list for the rest of my life. Never betting this guy again. But I do think he gets it done. And I do have a lot of them on DK. So I will be rooting for the guy, but I still hate the guy, to be honest. What's your top 10 pound for pound worst chins in the UFC? I might have to make a video on that. Yep, Vieira needs a finish in round 1. I agree. If not, it could get very, very bad. Please tell me you're lying about Barberena and Witt. And I do believe I did see that matchup. Barberena is going to rip his head off. Yep. I agree. Vieira, already talked about that. Easy under 2.5. Yeah, I think the under 2.5 is like maybe like minus 200, minus 210, something like that. Don't hate it. Vieira does look like a tank. How do we afford 9.4 with no dogs we like? You just got to kind of sprinkle them. I mean, there's some good dogs like Morozov, Billy Q, even Anderson Dos Santos, even Abdou, Malcolm Gordon, solid punt options. There's some solid options. Vieira has subbed the highest level black belts in the UFC, Safarov and the Polish kid. Don't remember his name. I think you're talking about Oscar Pahota. Yeah, I should sub this dude as well. Benitez is not convicted in his last couple of fights. I think Quarantillo has a slight edge. He could, but man, he's going to get hit hard. All right, so we'll get to the next fight here, and we have Mateusz Gamrot going against Jeremy Stephens. Yeah, no bet here for me. I was tempted on parlaying Gamrot earlier in the week or like last week, and got done with the tape, and I just decided to pass. Gamrot, I do think he'll win this fight. I do think he'll mix in the takedowns along with the striking as well. I'm just worried about the power of Jeremy Stephens. 18 knockdowns in the UFC for Jeremy Stephens. Ton of knockouts on his record. And although Gamrot has not been knocked out before, he has been hurt before. So that kind of what made me stay away in this fight. But I do think Gamrot gets it done. I think Gamrot does get it done by decision as well. As far as DK goes, I kind of like both sides here. More on the Gamrot side for me. He's going to have a ton of takedown opportunities, a ton of control time opportunities. Don't think he finishes, but still I think a lot of volume as well. As far as Stephens, don't hate him as a dog, because if Stephens wins, it's going to be by a knockout, not going to be a decision, not going to be a submission. It's going to be by knockout. So I kind of like both sides, more so strongly on the Gamrot side. But Stephens as a dog, it's not the worst option in the world, as he does have some crazy knockout power. But yeah, Stephens, I think, is like 35 years old, 36 years old, coming up a weight class. His path to victory is that knockout. I lean towards he does not get it. I lean towards Gamrot mixing in the takedowns, but it's really hard to count out Jeremy Stephens in a fight. So give me Gamrot for the win. No play here for me. I know a lot of people are parlaying up Gamrot this week. Don't hate it, but not really for me. Can Jeremy Stephens win decision? I just lean towards no. Stephens will break the slate on DK. He could if he gets a knockout. Gamrot looks freaking huge. I agree. Gamrot is so overhyped. No way he should be the favorite. I do think he is slightly overhyped. Like, he hasn't really beat anybody that notable. Somehow I feel like a Stephens KO could happen for sure. The guy hits hard. I'm taking a shot on Gamrot. I believe it's a beat. He can wrestle him. Stephens to a decision, so can Gamrot. Yeah, I do think Gamrot's path to victory is those takedowns. If Edgar and Moicano struggle to take him down, yeah, I think Gamrot will struggle to hold him down for sure, but I don't think he'll struggle to take him down, if that makes sense. I think he will get a lot of takedowns. I don't think he'll get a lot of control time, so On the feet, it could get sketchy for sure. I played Stevens off the bat. Gamrot seems overpriced. He's only 8,600. It's not terrible. Stevens KO for sure. Stevens KO plus 420. I think on FanDuel Sportsbook earlier in the week, it was like plus 475. I was very tempted on that. But yeah, no bet here from me. I picked Gamrot, but the power of Stevens definitely scared me away. Can you see a loser making optimal? I lean towards no. We saw it last week, but it doesn't happen often. Just off the top of my head, I remember Poirier, Hooker was in the optimal lineup. I remember Max Holloway, Poirier was in the optimal lineup. What else? Overeem Sakai was in the optimal lineup. Just not often at all we see that. So I lean towards no. I think some of these dogs do pull it off. All right, so we'll get to the co-main event, and yeah, seems like everybody has a bet on Miesha Tate this week, and yeah, I don't know if I do that personally. I think she wins. I think it's a very solid matchup, but there's just so many question marks. Like, this is probably, the sketchiest fight on the card by a mile. I mean, Miesha Tate coming off of a pregnancy, coming off of a long layoff. We've not seen her fight in over 5 years. Going against Mary Reneau, who is 44 years old. She's not great, 4-fight losing streak, but those 4 fights, I mean, they're competitive fights. She's winning rounds in those fights, so it's not like she's getting like dominated each and every fight. They are somewhat competitive, and she's been more active. But the thing is, like, if Miesha Tate comes back and she looks anything like she did 5-6 years ago, she wins this fight. But I mean, it's just a tough ask. 5.5-year layoff. Will she look the same? And I just don't know. I just don't know at all. But Mary Reneau has been taken down at least once in her last 10 fights. That's very important to note. Mary Reneau does have a 50% takedown defense. That's very important to note. And Mary Reneau is 44 years old on a 4-fight losing streak. That's very important to note. So all signs point towards Miesha Tate, but I am definitely not betting it. The layoff scares me away, but I do have a lot of exposure. I don't want to say a lot of exposure, but I do have some exposure to Tate on DK because she's going to get takedowns, control time. It's just when you take a look at Tate, she doesn't really score that well on DK, but I think in this matchup in particular, she has some decent upside here. So I like Tate. I like her on DK. Can't bet it. I can't bet it, especially where the line's at now. Like a plus 115 where it opens, sure. Yeah, I'll take that bet, but at minus 145, just no way I'm getting there. I don't even want to look at any props. This fight is so tough to call. There's so many question marks, so many red flags. Smart move is staying away. I'm tempted to bet Miesha Tate, but I just know if I do that, it's not gonna look good. Everybody's on, everybody's betting her. I think the bet hits, but it's just not too many red flags for me, to be honest. But I think she gets it done. When Stevens hit, yeah, he hits really hard. Don't bet Tate, 5 years off and a baby. Yeah, red flag after red flag after red flag. Can't do it. I think Gamrot obliterates him. Calling sub that full went up a weight class. Gamrot will be a top 3 DK score. There you go. There you go. I don't think he obliterates him, but I do think he wins. Could take it sub potentially. Reneau, I want to say she's a brown belt. Tate, of course, is a black belt. But yeah, Reneau does have submissions off her back. Reneau actually has like a 90% finish rate as well. So I did sprinkle in a little bit of Reneau for that reason because she is a finisher when she wins. She does win by finish. So I do have a little bit of Reneau. But probably Tate here gets it done. Tempted on Tate just because fading Reneau has made me money before. Yeah, I bet. Just sit back and watch for a cupcake when Miesha gets her down on the ground. Yep. I like it. You call it the sketchiest fight on the card. I call it gambling. Yeah, there you go. Not for me personally. I can't do it. Yeah, I agree. Way better spots. Yep. Man, it took a look at Tate on DK. A fraud. Yeah, I agree. Her scoring is not looking that great. But in this matchup, with the new scoring system, she could get some takedowns and control time. I don't think she like blows everybody out of the water with her scoring, but I do think in a win she could score 80 to 90 points in a win. Which, it could or could not be enough to get an optimal lineup, depending on who does win. Reneau is a black belt. There you go. Yeah, I remember checking her Instagram. I saw a brown belt, but she could have been promoted ever since then. Hard to keep up with, if they're a black belt, brown belt, all that good stuff. I try to, but it's tough sometimes. Exactly. Miesha Tate has been out of the game for too long. Too much inactivity is not good. Yep, and the pregnancy. And somebody mentioned earlier, fighters coming off of pregnancies don't do well. Renault's last fight, I assume she goes all out. Yep. Misha should have just started an OnlyFans. Doesn't she have an OnlyFans? I thought she did. Yeah, sometimes they don't matter. Like Rodolfo Vieira got submitted, so yeah, the belts don't matter most of the time. But it's always something to mention. Probably going to pass on this card in general. Okay. No, I have a decent amount of action for sure. All right, so we'll get to the main event. Before we do, if you guys can leave a like on the video, always much appreciated. My betting breakdown will come out tomorrow at 6 o'clock in the morning. Like to get it out nice and early. My articles are already posted on Patreon. My lineup percentages are already posted. Got everything done so I can spend tonight researching next card. I do have 3 bets already for next card, 2 really big bets. I think next week is a great card for betting. I think we have like 13 or 14 fights next week. Also want to remind you that me and Uncle Weezy every Sunday on Pub Sports Radio going live. New show called Stat Diggers. Everybody seems to like it quite a bit, where we go very deep into the stats for each and every matchup, talk about some betting and all that good stuff. It's a good show. It's a good show. I enjoy it. We sit there for about 2 hours, just going fight by fight, getting deep into the stats, talking about it a little bit. It's a fun show. I think it's going to be fun this week, especially, or next week, because we do have a ton of fights. So we do have the main event, Islam Makhachev going against Thiago Moises. Makhachev minus 700. Moises is plus 450. And Islam's going to be my highest owned fighter on DK. I have like 60% Islam. And I have about, not much Moises. I want to say like 15% Moises. I think Islam probably has the highest ceiling on the entire slate. He has 5 rounds to work with. He scores decent in 3-round fights. So he gets an extra 2 rounds there. Ton of takedowns, ton of control time. And I think this fight's going to look a little bit like the Beneil Dariush fight, where Dariush took down Moises at will. Beneil Dariush controlled Moises for about 13 and a half minutes out of a 15-minute fight. I can kind of see the same thing here. Makhachev, tons of control time, tons of takedowns, and potentially a late finish as well. So Makhachev has never seen the 4th round, has never seen the 5th round. Moises has. And I think at some point, I'll say this, if Moises wins the fight, it's probably a knockout or a submission. I think the least likely outcome is probably that Moises decision. But yeah, I think if Moises wins, it's a knockout, it's a submission off the back. But if Islam wins, I think it could be, a late finish. We have seen Moises slow down in the past. In that Dariush fight, Moises looked very tired. He really could not keep up with the pace of Beneil Dariush. I think that could be the case here. So I actually took a bet on the fight doesn't go to decision. It covers both sides. If Moises wins, like I said, submission, knockout. If Islam Makhachev wins, late finish, I think it's very much on the table and at plus money. If it was a 3-round fight, I would not be making that bet. But since we do get those extra 2 rounds, I do think there's a very good chance that there could be a finish later the fight goes. So I did take a 1-unit shot on the fight doesn't go to decision, plus 110. I know a lot of people are on that Islam Makhachev's decision prop. Not a bad look, but I do personally think that this fight does get finished later in the fight. Personally, DK, Islam Makhachev, 60% owned for me. Moises on DK, like 15% owned around there. A ton of exposure to this fight, and I think Makhachev gets it done. I think Makhachev gets it done here. Late finish, whether it's like a TKO or potentially a submission if Moises really does gas out. I don't think that Moises will be able to keep up the pace. Somebody's going to get tired. There's going to be a really hectic pace pushed in this fight for sure. What's up, B? Brady, thanks for all you do. We'll have to rewatch. Appreciate that, B. Don't overthink it. Cakewalk for Islam. I agree. Moises is owner of the sketchiest 3 fight. Yeah, I agree. I remember betting on Bobby Green by decision, thinking, oh, yeah, there we go. Hit it pretty easily. And then no, they give the fight to Moises. I'd say maybe like on any other week, yeah. But this week, there's so many great options. So I personally have 60%, but I also have a ton of Nascimento, a ton of Rivera, a ton of Figueredo. I don't want to say a must, but he is my favorite play. Need a pump play for DK GPP. I'd say either Gordon or Ruiz. I don't have much. I have like 20% Gordon. I have like 15% Moises. And I have like 3% Ruiz. Ruiz is my lowest owned dog. Top 3 dogs for DK. Morozov, Billy Q, and one of those punts like Gordon, Abdou, Anderson dos Santos. Thank you, Brady. Parlay this card. Yeah, there's some decent parlay options. I wouldn't parlay the whole card, but yeah. Islam will be gunning for a finish. Yeah, I think he will aim for that finish as well. So yeah, I do like that plus money shot. Plus 110 fight doesn't go to decision. I do like that quite a bit. Rather than betting the minus, what is he, minus 800, minus 900 Islam Makhachev. Saying the bunny will be scalped. I like it. Gordon's chin cannot be trusted. I agree. And Rivera beats Gordon. Yeah. Yeah, I have some Parsons. Because if he does win, it's going to be by finish. All right. So, best dogs, Dos Santos, Morozov, and Q. Yeah, I could agree with that. Misha's the bomb. Been training for 2 years now. She's ready. First round KO. I don't know about KO, but yeah, I do think she wins. All right. So, I'll quickly over my bets. I'll be posting my betting breakdown video tomorrow. You can follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers. Instagram, DFS by the numbers. I'll be posting my bets tomorrow, as always, for free for you guys. But I do have one unit on the dog. Sergey Morozov, plus 141. Taking a shot on the dog there. Miles Johns, a fight that I bet a couple weeks ago. 2 units, minus 170. Also have Miles Johns versus Anderson Dos Santos, the under 2.5 rounds. Plus 165, a half unit on that. 2 parlays this week. The first one, Danny Rodriguez, parlayed with Amanda Lemos, minus 134, 1.5 units on that, as well as Rodriguez wins by KO, 0.75 units, minus 125. Then I have Danny Rodriguez wins by submission, little sprinkle quarter unit, plus 1,600 on FanDuel Sportsbook. Other parlay, violence parlay, Rodolfo Vieira versus Dustin Stoltzfus, fight doesn't go the distance. Nascimento, Abdou, fight doesn't go the distance, minus 135, 1.5 units on that. Francisco Figueredo, Malcolm Gordon, under 2.5 rounds, minus 150, 1.5 units on that. Makhachev, Moises to close out the card. Fight doesn't go the distance, plus 110, 1 unit on that. So I have about 5 more minutes. Any final questions you guys want to talk about? We'll talk about it. Do you want to shout out the sponsor once more, Pub Sports Radio? Go ahead over there. Check them out. They're doing Bellator as we speak. I'll be in the chat hanging out more than likely. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, we have a live stream tomorrow, 1 hour prior to the prelims. I think the prelims start at 7:00 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, which, really late card tomorrow, which is weird. But yeah, I'll be going live around 6:00 p.m. if the card does indeed start at 7. Kind of a weird time. Good luck for you as well. Appreciate that. Top 2 dogs on DK, probably Morozov and Billy Q. There aren't really many that stick out, but I do like those dogs as far as DK goes for the price, for the upside. Thoughts on Connor's ankle? Yeah, I did a recap video on 264. I gave all my thoughts and all that. You can check it out. How did you do on DK last week? I actually got a takedown, got first place. I did share it with 20 people, but there were huge prizes, so it was a huge win. Had a loser in the lineup, had Jessica I. Also had Irene Aldana in the lineup, which it was weird because I would have never had that lineup if the first fight of the night wouldn't have been off, because when the first fight was on, I had like 1% Aldana, I had 0% I. But with that fight off, I went to like 10% I, 7% Aldana, and that was enough to find the optimal. So that was cool. Feeling pretty good about DK this week as well. Hopefully another takedown. 2 in a row would be nice. Does seem like a mid-range card. Yeah, it could be. There's some great mid-range plays. We will most definitely walk with profit this week. I hope so. That's the goal. Thanks as always for your work. Thank you for hanging out. Bet the house on Islam Misha Parlay. I would not do that at all, but if you are, best of luck to you. No problem, Ryan. Thanks for hanging out. But yeah, should be a fun card tomorrow, for sure. All right, guys, I'm gonna head out. Thank you all so much for hanging out on a Friday. Good luck. You can hit me up on Twitter if you want to. Instagram, usually pretty active on there. Sleeping on Caheo. She's aggressive and game. Yeah, I don't want to say I'm sleeping on her, but I do think she gets quite dominated, to be honest. Don't really get the love for her, at all. Lemos is the real deal for sure. All right, guys, that's about it. And good luck for UFC Vegas 31. Let's make some money. Talk to you guys.